If you have spiritual gifts, like you have psychic abilities, you have all the clairs, you're clairvoyant, you're clairaudient, anything like that, you can see spirits, you can see dark entities, you can see demons, things like that. These type of spiritual gifts. And you have children, I need you to watch your children from the time you give birth to them. Especially when they're a child. Of course, they're going to be more open. Their spirit is more pure. Entities will come to them. Spirits have passed on. They will come to them easier than they would to teenagers or adults. And if you are religious and a lot of your religions say, oh, this is just mental health issues, no one really has spiritual gifts, definitely talk to your children and let them know that they're not crazy. These are gifts from God, and let them know what they're going to be facing because you face these issues already. They need to have like a spiritual elder and somebody guiding them through these type of spiritual gifts. And that's something that I did not have. My mother hid in religion, Christianity. My mother didn't like her gifts. She didn't want to embrace them because she was called crazy. She felt crazy, and she didn't want any part of spirituality. She felt religion was better for her. When I was about 12 years old is when she came out to me and told me what one of her spiritual gifts were. And she was able to see into dimensions. So like those mystical creatures that you see in movies that you think are fake? Oh no, they're real, like a leprechaun or like a Tinkerbell, things like that. Those creatures are real. There are different creatures in other dimensions, and she was able to see into other dimensions and see these mystical creatures. And I laughed so loud at her. I let her know I believed her, that it just sounded weird to me. And probably a year later, that's when my gift started to increase. But because I was in religion, I hid behind religion. I didn't tell friends. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell family. I noticed when I was around 22 years old, that's when my spiritual gifts began to increase. I was having dreams more. I was able to know things before they happen. I was able to even know when people are sick, knew they were going to die. All these different things started to happen to me, and I just hid them. And it wasn't until a few months, 6 months before my mother passed away. She passed away when I was 23. And I went in a room and I saw her laying in her bed reading a book. And I said, Mom, can I ask you a question? And she said, yeah, what's up? And I said, when your phone rings, do you know who it is before you look at the phone? And she looked up from her book and she said, yeah. I said, when you get a text, do you know who's texting you before you look at the text? She said, yeah. I said, if somebody is at the front door and they did not call you before they were coming, can you usually tell or see the person who's on the other side of the door? And she said, yes. I said, is everybody like this? And she said, no. And she kind of leaned up out of the bed and she said, why? Is these things happening to you? And I said, yes. And she just kind of looked like, shit. And it just amazes me. Like, how could she not think that she didn't pass these gifts to me? And I said, all right, thank you. And I just closed her door and I just kept it moving, and we never talked about it again. And 6 months later, my mother passed away. And I don't have any elders in my family that have spiritual gifts that are alive that I can talk to. And the universe hasn't placed a mentor in my life. I ended up coming on the internet and, guiding people through their gifts and talking to them and being the listening ear so that others won't be feeling crazy with these gifts. Pay attention to your children, be their mentor, guide them through it, and let them know that they're not crazy. And that is just something I've always desired. And if I have children, I will be watching them and guiding them through spiritually as well.